Hi, I'm Q, and I am here with Dr. Joel Kahn, integrative cardiologist, author, movie star from the movie What the Health, People's Sexiest Vegan. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, and an owner and partner of this wonderful restaurant where we're staying today, Green Space Cafe.
I think you got
Just about everything.
the bio down.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Thank you for helping me help people get healthier. And also thank you for helping people get healthier all of your life.
Yep.
You
you.
are a huge proponent of a plant-based diet, but you haven't always been this way, right?
No, I grew up in Detroit suburbs with a varied diet. I grew up in a home keeping kosher dietary laws, Jewish dietary laws. So food was yes or no. And frankly, that's what we all have to do, although it doesn't have to be those laws. It has to be quality, not affordable but low quality. It has to be whole foods, not processed foods. So we need rules. I just happened to be introduced to them early. And about age 18, I shifted those rules to all plant-based food. So it's been about 40 years. And it works out real well. And now the science, the movie industry, the athletes, it's exploding right now. It's the time.
Yeah, and it's a great thing now. When I was, working in TV, when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, you were one of the first people that I went to because I was concerned that I was on what I felt was an enormous amount of stimulants, 80 milligrams of a particular stimulant. And I said to you, I can't get out of the bed without it. I have no energy. And you said, take some spirulina and some cholera. And I was like, isn't that a disease? So what is it about using a plant-based diet to help reverse certain illnesses? I have MS, but we have, you deal with heart disease, we have an obesity epidemic, diabetes runs in my family. Who doesn't know someone touched by cancer? Can mixing in some avocado and some beets really help all that?
Yeah, it really can. And one aspect that's a little more spiritual, but you touched on it, is sunshine. We're having a very sunny, hot day here in Detroit. Sunshine causes plants to grow, produce energy, chlorophyll, the green. And it may be that eating some living foods actually empowers our bodies to have extra energy too. It turns out hemoglobin, the powerhouse of red blood cells, and chlorophyll, the powerhouse of plants, are chemically identical except for the very middle element, iron and manganese. So very, very interesting how it may be that adding chlorella, spirulina, green vegetables may directly provide, there is actually some actual research that can power your cells directly. We thought only sunshine plants, it may be sunshine plants humans. But then you get into you start talking a little bit of the business. Our bodies are made to have a high fiber diet. It's going to power our GI tract. It's going to power our elimination and detoxification. And only plants have fiber, whether we're talking beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds, green leafies, fruits, the whole spectrum. You can't get fiber from chicken, you can't get fiber from fish, you can't get fiber from red meat, bacon, salami. So we learned from Hippocrates 2,500 years ago that the source of all health is in our gut, in our GI tract. That was one of his famous sayings that is held up remarkably, and science says, feed your stomach, feed your intestines healthy foods, and it's got to include a large amount of plants. And over the last 100 years, when we've seen this increase in adult diabetes, type 2, increase in heart attacks, increase in obesity, dementia, autoimmune conditions like you have, the change in food, along with toxic environment, but the change in food to where we've outsourced for $1.99 to Taco Bell, to McDonald's, to KFC, to Wendy's, is probably gets the single biggest finger pointing for the cause. And we got to get back to cooking in the kitchen,
right,
or finding very select restaurants, going to farmers markets, doing prep of food a couple times a week. So we got big soups and chilies and all, but we got to bring it back and not outsource it, or we got to demand these companies upgrade to where our health is primary, not profit is the only driving force. So we've just lost our path, but we're getting it back. And as you said, this kind of current documentary that's catching people's attention is really a great spark.
Yeah. When I retired, and when I said to people that I admitted that I'm a medical marijuana patient, and after that, lots of people came to me asking me about that aspect of it, and people tend to lose the fact that I also say I changed my diet. I use cannabis for a symptom relief, but I also change my diet. So let's talk about people when they changing their diet. I have people who are coming to me, and I have to say, I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice, but I know some doctors, know a great doctor. So let's talk about one of the big scourges of here in Michigan. Let's talk about diabetes, for example. So and then we'll talk about high blood pressure. I think those are the two big ones. When you have a patient who's diabetic, what's the first thing you say to them? What should they change?
Well, there's number one, I ask them to get educated, watch a documentary called Forks Over Knives, Netflix. Now with this new one, watch What the Health. Get a little education. Get the whole family watching the TV. These are family appropriate. Get some buy-in from a significant other, spouse, a parent, or child. It'll be much easier, even if they don't do it, if they understand why you are. So that's number one. Number two, I think the easiest first step in what is the fastest expanding sector of the market right now is getting rid of dairy. Okay, we don't think people are lactose intolerant. I say you're not lactose intolerant. You're not a baby cow is the issue.
Right.
This is stuff made to make a baby cow, a 400-pound cow, very quickly with fats, and now unfortunately all adulterated by hormones and antibiotics and such. The protein in cow's milk is much richer and more complex than what's in breast milk. It's human breast milk. So, but it's easy now because you got 15 different kinds of milk substitutes. You got the fastest growing segment are actually our non-dairy yogurts, whether they are coconut, almond, hemp, and all the rest. You've got cheeses now moving on, very elegant cheeses, which you can now buy in stores, or you can, of course, try at our restaurant and other places.
And they are fantastic
So
here.
easy to get off dairy. And just that alone, some people will feel dramatically better. That gas, that heartburn, that kind of bloating, that irritable bowel. It wasn't irritable bowel, you're just not a baby cow. So that's easy to do and may start to move the needle to realizing that, we just have lost our way again. But even those aren't whole foods. And I think the second one would be the habit of eating a salad a day. When I talk to every patient, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, sodas, tell me everything you do every day. And intelligent people that are eating 1 or 2 servings of fruit and vegetables a day complete. That's the American average, 1.5 serving.
Wow.
The minimum recommendation is 5 to 6, and the later recommendations are now getting to 8, 9, 10 servings of fruit and vegetable a day. So a salad, you can find any restaurant, any airport, any work site. It may not necessarily look as rich as the burger and fries, but for your health, that would be a 1-2 punch. No dairy. Get on this is called our superfood salad, just loaded with, a few walnuts and a few grains and whole avocados and whole beets and edamame, which is a whole soy-based product. It's an organic version as we serve. But even if you do something even a little simpler at local salad bar, it's a quality choice for your gut, to your brain, to your heart, to your bottom, to the whole package.
Okay. So then would the same apply to someone maybe with high blood pressure or cardiovascular disease?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. We know that you'll have less blood pressure if you eat more and more of a plant-based diet. One of my mentors and a well-known doctor, Dr. Dean Ornish, describes it as a spectrum. Here's America eating 60% of their calories through a drive-through window, yellow bag, without fiber, without nutrition. And here's somebody eating perfectly whole food, plant-based and such. You've got to figure out what you're willing to do and where you want to be, but you'll gain more and more health if you'll walk that walk closer and closer. You may never get there completely. You may just love to have your cheat days and this and that. I'm not judging that. But blood pressure, if you'll move down that path, you won't develop blood pressure in many cases. The least chance of blood pressure exists in those that answer the question, I eat a plant-based vegetarian or vegan diet. If you already have high blood pressure, you got to look at your weight, your salt content. But there's some green leafies for sure. We know green leafies make an amazing chemical called nitric oxide, lowers your blood pressure. Beets do the same thing. Whether a lot of people don't like beets, maybe try juicing beets with the whole greens, beet leaves. And then one of the great ones is hibiscus tea. People don't know, lowers blood pressure equivalent to a prescription drug.
Get out.
So maybe have a cup or two of coffee and get at the local store either loose or tea bags of hibiscus tea. And one of my favorites, also science-based, is ground flaxseed. Used to be kind of a hippie thing. You'd have your your coffee grinder. Now you can get ground flaxseed. You throw it on oatmeal, throw it in a salad, throw it in soup. Lowers blood pressure, again, about equivalent to a prescription drug. So if you up your greens, add some beets, put in ground flaxseed, drink some hibiscus, you may be able to get off a medicine or two, but do it with your healthcare provider. Do it with a home blood pressure cuff, the whole thing.
Okay, and then finally, cancer.
No.
Cancer is devastating and deadly, literally. So, what should you eat to prevent it? What can you eat to possibly treat it?
Yeah, so the single best example we have actually is prostate cancer in men, and we happen to be filming this at the end of a month that's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so that's perfectly fine. But there are studies that if you are a man recently diagnosed with prostate cancer, and as most men are told, we're going to watch the cancer, you're not required to have chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery right now. If you will adopt this kind of food, a plant-based food, you can shrink prostate cancer with diet. You can lower your PSA blood test with diet. You can actually, reduce your risk it'll spread anywhere with a plant-based diet. So that's the singular example that's in the medical literature, largely ignored. If you were to go to urology clinics and talk to men recently diagnosed, they would not have heard that the science is been done for now about 12 years, so it's not brand new science. It probably applies to breast cancer prevention of something as simple as adding white button mushrooms as a routine part of your diet. They're very rich in vitamin D. They've got another component called beta-glucans. You can lower your risk of developing breast cancer by adding mushrooms routinely to your diet. And if you've had breast cancer, you lower your risk of recurrence. And very controversial, but soy-based products, we've got edamame, if it's organic tofu, organic tempeh. Around the world, the data scientifically is you can lower your risk of developing the first breast cancer and lower your risk of recurrence. There has been a lot of conversation about soy, good or bad, but the scientific data and recent studies this year have been very definitive. So, it all goes back to what are you willing to do, learn some simple recipes that you can make at home, big batches of bean chilies, big batches of bean soups, making some tacos, burritos, getting a plant-based burger substitute, but get the leafy greens, get the fresh living foods in, and cancer can be tamed and prevented with upping your diet. The focus on health through your mouth should be a primary kind of mindfulness we carry every day because we control that. We do control it.
Fantastic. Anything else you'd like to add that I didn't ask you about?
No, food is medicine, and food will prevent medicine is really the latest twist. So thank you, and again, I agree. If you have any people that are uncertain what to do and they haven't seen What the Health, it's driving people to reevaluate how food is produced in the United States and the Western world and what the alternatives are. So when our local grocery stores are making it easier and our farmer markets are making it easier, there's just no excuse anymore. Do the hard work, but you'll enjoy the benefits in as little as a week. You go off dairy, you may feel better in a week, so I challenge anybody to give that a try.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.